Idris in hand, so they don't have to quite be afraid of that Baron. Idris counters Baron so hard in the late game, especially when you can just jump on top of him with your Shroud Step, with your health barrier, and you can just burst him down before he can even burst you down. So I am still considering why the side of Brenchong want to ban out that Taka, but they are going to settle for that Samuel for the side of Brenchong. Once again, we do see a Samuel for Brenchong, and we must say Samuel was played to very strong and put up a very good performance in the previous game, so much so that Infamous had to prioritize defense against that of Samuel.
Yeah, and that is really the problem there when we look at, I wouldn't say a problem, but quite a strength for the side of the current Brenchong draft have made for themselves. But I'm wondering whether they would like to utilize Lyra's capabilities as a healer to help with maybe a dive hero, such as we might see a melee hero in the lane like a Black Feather.
Yep, we might see a Black Feather in lane, probably, because at this point in time, you've got very little heroes that you can't quite go for at the end of the day. But we know that Brenchong, they've got very good players that can play that Vox to very good extent as well. Granted, in the late game, Vox kind of lose out, but your early game spikes is much earlier as compared to that of Idris, and if you are able to push your advantage with your 3 damage items, then you can definitely push the game into late. That way, if you do not allow Infamous to have any breathing space, then your comp, the side of Brenchong at least, might cut it on top. So we do see...
And at the last second, we see Infamous picking up that Sky. And you know what that means. I don't even need to say it now. But we're just going to have to look at what Brenchong respond to that one. Because... it is going to be that Vox that we were talking about at the start of draft, and that's what's going to round off the side of Brenchong's team comp, as they have that Lyra, Samuel, and Vox. It is going up against the Idris, Catherine, and Sky, which both these team comps here look very strong. And I'm serious when I say that I like Infamous's team comp, not just because of the Sky, but because they have that Idris who can dive in alongside the CC, the very solid CC coming out of Catherine, who we know is quite aggressive roamer. But I think it's also good they picked this Sky, just because that's someone who's quite mobile and able to sit on the back line, maybe make it a harder target for that Samuel. And in saying that, we do have the Lyra finishing off the team comp, or starting off the team comp for Brenchong, and that does provide with the Bright Bulwark a bit of initiation kind of disengage there. And it is good, however, it's only for such an amount of time, and it's all about timing and positioning for this.
Well, definitely. That is one thing that I must note of the team comp coming up from the side of Brenchong. They do have an engage, and of course they have a very good disengage as well in terms of Lyra's Arcane Passage, like you said. Problem it is just down to how Brenchong will be playing into that Sky, especially with a Samuel. I know Samuel is very strong at level 2 after getting that Drifting Dark. But then again, at level 2 as well, Sky can just reposition herself out of the direction that Drifting Dark is going toward and go to the backs of Samuel and then forward barrage him from then. And that way, Samuel might have a hard time going against this Sky in that of jungle. And there is one more thing as well. There is a Catherine as well in the side of, coming up from the side of Infamous as well. And as we all know, Catherine, if played well, you've got so much CC. You have got the reliable Merciless Pursuit, your stun, you have your Blast Tremor that provides with that silence as well. If I'm not wrong, that silence is like 2.5 seconds or so silence. So that is a very long time. And it's just down to whether or not the side of Brenchong or even Lyra can just block out that team-wide silence if it does come out. And on top of that, for the side of Brenchong, we do have that Idris as well, which counters Vox very, very well into the late game. But whether or not Infamous...
We have the Idris.
Oh, sorry.
This time, Infamous being on the blue side.
Yeah, so we do have like Idris or rather, and whether or not Idris can, or rather, no, whether or not Vox on the side of Brenchong.
Okay.
can actually, yeah, I kind of messed up the hero's name there. So whether or not Vox can push his early game advantage, which I said earlier on, is just down to how aggressive the Samuel and Lyra can be in lane. Because we all know the amount of sustain that Lyra provides in lane is just insane. That quite allows you, or rather a Vox, to just out-sustain an Idris as well. There is one more thing. Vox will and always build Poison Shift as first item, as compared to Idris, who requires, say, oh, right. I didn't see. Sorry. So, anyways, I'll just quickly finish up my point. So it is down to whether or not Vox can push the early game. Anyways, we are right into the fold at this point in time. So let me just hand over very quickly to our amazing casters, Mini and Asarai.
Man, when analysts go ham, that's what happens, man. Nicely done, Mysteria. Yeah,
they want to
insane. So here we are, guys, back at it again with the Mini Miter for our second game with Brenchong versus Infamous. Yeah.
Yep, definitely. And actually, we see Lyra ported home to pick herself up a protector contract to try and help Vox in lane. That's very interesting. You almost always see one of the contracts picked up straight away. As soon as someone spawns in, they pick up a contract and then it's used throughout the whole game, because obviously you want to sell your contracts once you get towards mid to late game. But Lyra decided to go Oak Heart Energy Battery, then decided actually I really need a protector contract to keep Vox alive. I think Vox against Idris is going to be tough. It's going to be a lot of skill between both players. Obviously, if Idris can get on top of Vox, which I think most Idrises will be able to do, then it will be really easy to kill him. But Vox with that Sonic Zoom can just stay out of basic attack range of Idris, and then he's going to be in a real trouble. But as Luxuria said, you need to try and bully Idris before he gets his Sora Blade to unlock Diversion Pass, because he can't get away quickly, like at all, when he can only roll when they're going to come to lane.
Yeah, so this is what Infamous did on the first game, and now it's just Brenchong, paying back their dues. SNK very low on HP here with the Catherine, has to back off, and I was actually kind of wondering, is there like the composition of Brenchong, aside from it having a lot of sustain, what else is like the Lyra bringing to the table for this type of comp? But wait, before you answer that question, man, here comes Infamous once more with the Sky going in ham with that forward barrage. And well, you know what happens when you eat that forward barrage? It almost always is a kill. My goodness.
Yeah, well played from Uni to keep that forward barrage on top of Limhouse to get the kill. But the Lyra was there it was the first pick, so they picked it thinking they need a healer, and healers are strong enough that you don't need to worry about what the enemy have gone, you can just get Lyra. It's good. The Bright Bulwark is obviously very good to counter Idris when he wants to dive in. You can stop that by using a Bright Bulwark, but that's really the only time that Bright Bulwark's ever going to be used, because Sky is not really going to get hit by it. Sky's a very mobile hero, but it's the kind of ability where she's on the outside of the fight, not diving in on top of Lyra. So Lyra's going to be on top of Vox trying to keep Idris away, and Sky's not going to get hit by the Bulwark, she's going to be free to run away. I think the Lyra's not the best pick, but obviously they first picked Lyra because she's such a strong, she was the only healer left, and so if you've led it through, you want to pick it.
That's true enough, but with that in mind, Brenchong might actually be in a ticking time bomb here, because Infamous, they're looking aggressive with that Idris, with that Sky actually having that forward barrage. They're just, putting the pressure on. And Brenchong did lose in terms of the first blood, but of course, this is just the start of the game. We still have to see how this Vox will pan out to that late game, if he can actually be able to get away from maybe the Idris and even the barrage, or the damage from behind of this Sky.
It was very well played from Uni on Sky. He rotated up to lane loads. Rotated up to lane almost every time that Spaghetti might have been pushed by Vox. There was a Sky in lane to do a reverse push and to make sure that Limau had to back off and Mr. Jim couldn't push Spaghetti on this Idris. Now we're 5 minutes in, Idris has got an infusion pocketed and has a Solar Blade already. So this is a really good time for Infamous if he wants to fight. Sky hasn't got an infusion ready, but Spaghetti does. I don't think he'll want to pop it at level 4. He'll probably want to try and level up to level 5 before he does use that infusion. If a team fight breaks out, I'm sure he'll just use it anyway to get that little bit of an extra advantage.
A bit of an advantage indeed, but Infamous looks like they had enough. They've already cleared out their jungle, and they're looking to push onto their turret. Will they be able to get this on their first rotation? That is the question that needs to be answered. Nope.
No, not quite. Not quite. They really want to push this up. They want to make sure that Sync1 has to rotate up to lane an awful lot. Sky seems to have a much quicker clear than Samuel at the moment, because Sky's always in lane and Samuel's just taking his jungle and backing off, and then taking his jungle and backing off again. So I think both teams are going to be a little bit passive, but I wouldn't be surprised if Infamous start trying to turn the screw a little bit more, try and be a bit more aggressive, especially in the lane, to either force Sync1 to rotate up before he's taking his jungle, or just take the first turret. Uni may be caught out, it'll be fine. He can still strike away if he gets in a lot of trouble. And as I said, Idris, no, he's not going to push the wave, he's just going to wait. And then the infusion pops, the fight's almost definitely going to break out pretty soon.
Lots of poke coming out from Brenchong. You can see there the Malice and Verdict really helping to, in a way, just push back Infamous as they look to maybe, like you said, get that first turret. But at the same time, they got to be careful here, because if they go a little bit too deep under the turret, I mean, there is, well, we all know, Lyra's sustainability as they go longer to these fights, in this early game fights. The Idris doesn't have as much damage as he would have in the late game, so they got to be a bit more careful. There's going to be the bright bulwark for the pushback, and Brenchong still holding up strong against this, I would say, siege by Infamous.
They're definitely trying to seize the turret. Both junglers going back to their respective jungles, so it's not going to push that much. Spaghetti has still got an infusion, only just been popped. So he wants to fight reasonably soon, but he's not in under any pressure to push right now. And he's going to rotate to the jungle with Uni. Very passive from both teams. I think Mr. Jim wants to get his Poison Shift breaking point before he actually wants to fight against Idris, because he wants to be able to stack. SNK is going to go in to try and get a stun onto whoever he can on Catherine, and then Mr. Jim wants to get breaking point stacks off that and then be able to out damage Idris, and he currently cannot sustain because he's got Poison Shift and obviously the Lyra, and they're going to go in good for Barrage.
Ooh, the stun connecting onto Limar, but I think Brenchong should be able to push this back, and they will. It's going to be Brenchong again with the Drifting Dark Malice and Verdict combo to try to break this even against Infamous, and yeah, they will survive for the meantime. Ultimate's not available just except for maybe Idris's, or rather Spaghetti's Glimmer Strike.
Shimmer Strike.
Shimmer Strike, my bad, yeah. But then Brenchong do have all of their ultimates up. They're gonna try to counter for this. Ooh, they won't, but the Lyra gets taken down. And whoop-de-doo, look at that, Shroud step out as Spaghetti almost gets obliterated, but fancy footworks for the Idris will keep that in the hands of Infamous, while it's also taking Limar away from the fight.
Yeah, it was a good play from Infamous. They took the gold mine to either force Brenchong to engage, try and steal the gold mine, or just let it go over to Infamous. Brenchong did try and steal it, which is smart. You obviously, one kill traded over by Lyra would have been absolutely fine if they had stolen the gold mine and got themselves 200.
Oh, Limar with the brush check. Can he get away? He's trying to. There's the defensive bulwark, or rather defensive bright bulwark, and it actually did well. Uni here to the sidelines. He might have bit off a bit more than he can shoot, but Spaghetti dives back in, uses a little bit of that fancy footwork with the Idris, and can he get it? No! Uni uses the ultimate as well to maybe get that last shot onto Sync1 as well as Live Hour, but you know what? That's the power of the Imperial Seal for you, giving a lot of heals back to Brenchong as they look to push onto this turret with only Uni to defend. And can he? I think he's just going to back away, but there's no way for Brenchong just yet, so at least in a way, there's a small...
well played by Uni.
Yeah, a little bit of a victory.
He used his 4 barrage preemptively before the minions were there and stayed at the absolute max range of the 4 barrage, took down the minions before they even got in turret range. So that means Brenchong had nothing to push the turret with. Mr. Jim is quite out of position. They'll be fine. I think he'll be able to run away. In fact, they might be in trouble. No, they've got Lyra. They'll be fine. They'll be able to run away. And so Sky stopping the minions going into turret range meant that Brenchong tried to dive in to get a turret or get a kill, but they just got nothing. And Sync1 took 3-4 turret shots, had to port home. And now, even though they lost the fight, Infamous are going to be able to not lose any objectives from that.
Yeah, at least a little bit of the glimmering light here for Brenchong is that they have so much sustain, so much mobility in a way that they can just back off and dip back into the fight kite as much as they want to. That's the power of the Sandwall, that's the power of the Vox. And if Infamous are actually, you know, going in with their dives, they could get heavily punished for this one, and Brenchong kind of know this. They're trying to bait it in and maybe chip someone down if they go a little bit too over-aggressive. Limar, though, will take quite a bit of damage. Oh, there's the ultimate from Uni, and they dodge it, but still they cannot dodge the damage from this Idris. Will he be able to survive? That slight shield will actually get him that 2-for-1 trade. And Infamous, oh Infamous, they get themselves a 2k gold lead with a pretty decisive Clash win.
Uni trying to be sneaky to get the kill on Sync 1, but could dodge around, but couldn't get the full barrage in the perfect position to secure the kill, so Uni decides to back off and not to give away his own life. Yeah, it was extremely well played from Spaghetti to secure the kill, even though he was ridiculously low. Used his Shimmer Strike just for as long as possible to try and let Uni do the damage, while Spaghetti could just wait. But then he came out of the Shimmer Strike extremely low, and Mr. Jim didn't quite have enough defense. Speaking of defense, he's just picked up a full metal jacket against Spaghetti. So that's a lot of damage, a lot of defense this time, as opposed to when we saw Kestra, who only picked up an Aegis against the Samuel. This time Mr. Jim's gone for a metal jacket against Idris, so tier 3 defense before picking up his third damage. So that means Mr. Jim will easily be able to sustain for a really long time, even without Lyra having the heal. They're going to go in.
Sure enough, but is that metal jacket enough to actually keep them away or keep them out of harm's way from the damage of this diving Idris? We'll just have to find out as another fight breaks out in the lane. The turret is there, it's actually charging up its shields. And both teams a little bit hurt, but they gotta remember Limar again has that Imperial Seal. He'll be able to heal up his teammates for the meantime. Sky uses the ultimate, breaks it down, drops it in. But Brenchong are still standing strong. Uni with the forward barrage, trying to chip him down slowly but surely. Suri strikes in. Oh, they actually obliterate Limar right there. And look at this, Mr. Jim, a little bit too over-aggressive, wants to go onto Spaghetti as fast as he can. Secondary ultimate coming out from Uni. Doesn't connect its mark, but it looks like Spaghetti will. And that's Infamous. 2-0 yet again. Sync 1, can he actually go for the revenge kill? But now he actually gets caught out himself, and he won't be able to get away from this one. Not today, buddy. But wait, am I wrong? Is the Drifting Dark and the Malison Verdict enough? Can he get away? Uni! Oh, the one shot! Oh, the humanity! And that's gonna be a 2-for-2 trade. My goodness, Sync 1. Look at them fancy footworks.
Sync 1 with the plays to dive around the turret and just be able to stop himself dying, and probably would have given up the ace if he'd have died early enough. Actually trading over to get the kill onto Uni. I think it was the right decision from Infamous to dive the turret, try and get the kill onto Sync 1. It would have been an ace, it would have been a guaranteed turret, possibly goldmine as well. But I think they just couldn't quite execute it right. The Suri Strike didn't land, didn't do any damage. The forward barrage didn't get enough ticks onto the Samuel as he needed to. And so I think it's just a bit. It was more well played from Sync 1 than poorly played from Infamous, but I think they'll be slightly disappointed that they didn't get the kill.
And SNK, he goes aggressive, tries to chase in with a merciless pursuit, but actually gets stunned as he goes in a bit too deep. Now, they kind of left the Idris here exposed, drops it down with the Blast Tremor, and Limar eats a whole lot of barrage, or a whole lot of that ultimate damage from Uni. Fox from the sidelines, Mr. Jim, he wants it, he goes for it, but SNK stopping him, blocking him off like the tank that he's supposed to be for Spaghetti here. And Uni from the sidelines looking for it, and oh my.
Gonna go in, Sync 1 trying to push this turret. There's a lot of poke, especially on Samuel, that Spaghetti really can't do anything by himself. He needs the Sky to make sure this turret doesn't fall. Sky is going to be there to make sure that Brenchong have to back off. When Samuel's put his Malison Verdict, his Drifting Dark forward and using his Malison Verdicts, he has so much range on the poke. Spaghetti's going to go in onto Limar, he's going to be absolutely fine. And Infamous wants to try and push this turret. Brenchong are going to rotate back up to try and stop it. Start landing, Sky's going just to the turret. There's the forward barrage and that above. And that first turret will go over to Infamous. They don't want to fight, they just took the turret, they want to back off. There's the aggressive right bulwark and our Compassion live. This ship's going to dive into the turret a little bit. And Sync 1 using very aggressive just jump. Catherine will fall to the box. He's going to so strike out of that. Oblivion from Samuel.
Oh.
I'm gonna pick up the kill on Lyra. You back?
Yes, I'm back. There you go. The Oblivion actually catches out Uni, but you know he goes in. Uni rather goes in with the Surrey Strike and catches off Lim Hour. Now there's a 1v1 with Mr. Jim and Spaghetti.
Oh, just
Oh, Spaghetti. Okay, he survives.
he survives just about. That was very close. And actually, a response from Idris is to pick up a full metal jacket on Mr. Jim. It's interesting that both carries this game, instead of going for glass cannon, we tend to see 4 damage items and an Aegis. They've gone for the metal jacket instead. I think it's a good idea on Idris because you're not going to be worrying about Sync 1 really, and if you are, then you're in a poor position. You need to worry about Fox first, and then if you killed Fox, then you should be fine against Samuel. And it's actually Uni's job to get the kill on Samuel, which is why he's got a little bit of shield against that. There's infusions on all the carries, so both teams are prepared to fight around this Kraken. There was a turret for Infamous to back off to and nothing for Brenchong. This could be a good position for Infamous to fight, and I'm expecting to see Sigmund doing quite a lot of poke with his Maz and Verdict to run up those broken mist stacks, and it's going to be better for Brenchong because Infamous really haven't got anywhere near as much poke as Brenchong. Brenchong have way more poke than Infamous does, pretty much entirely on Samuel. Obviously, there can be Shatkums and 4 barrages for Infamous. They do nowhere near as much damage as Empowered Maz and Verdict from Samuel.
There is a 3k gold lead here for Infamous, and that might be enough, added itemization that they will be able to break through, I guess, the sustainability and, like you said, the poke coming out from Brenchong. But they still have to be careful here. There was supposed to be the Kraken dance, but both teams actually hesitating, not wanting to go a little bit too over-aggressive. They don't want to show off that, show a little bit of vulnerability here. SNK with the backstab, he goes in, blasts it down with the blast tremor, but no! Mr. Jim from the backline chasing onto Uni and finds its mark. No defense for this Sky, and Infamous losing 1 man. Brenchong still has so much HP to work with, and they can dive SNK and Spaghetti. Will they do so? There is a Shimmer Strike here for Spaghetti. He can actually just go in, but there's a Drifting Dart. Brenchong already is Infamous the same. Shimmer Strike onto Sync 1, but he cannot capitalize. He's just trying to run away now, but the chase is on Brenchong. Just 1 more shot, and they will get it. No, not again. No, they get it.
Yes! Lyra gets it.
From downtown.
Lyra gets it with the basic attack, just for a little bit of BM.
Oh, man.
You thought you were going to survive now? I've got Lyra
No,
basic
no.
attack slowly.
It happened once, but not again.
Well, that was a good fight for Brenchong. There was a coordinated turret dive to make sure they secured the kill onto Catherine. Now Uni's going to try and steal this away. Sky's pretty good at stealing Krakens. In fact, Mr. Jim's going to make sure Sky has to fight or die. Sky's doing a very good job of fighting. Is he going to go in for the fight, or is he just going to go for a...
Can he get the steal? That's the question. Oh, SNK is here. Can he dash in? Merciless Pursuit himself into victory. Can they get the steal onto the Kraken? This is going to be make or break for Infamous. Brenchong, can they do it? No, no way. They got the Kraken steal, and look at this. Brenchong are so low. There's the forward barrage. Uni capitalizing. 2 kills already, looking for Sync 1. The chase is on once again. Sync 1, can he do it? No, that's going to be an ace. And the Kraken. What a play from Infamous.
Wow.
That
Infamous just turning it around.
Wow.
It was basically all on... It was just all on Uni to bait as long as possible to allow Catherine to get there. Catherine actually did steal the Kraken with the blast tremors. There's a lot of burst damage. Infamous want to push the turrets. I reckon they're going for the win.
Yeah, the GG push is real. They're going for it. And will Brenchong actually be able to defend their base? They did this a while ago against Infamous, so well, Infamous have gone for the payback. I'm looking if they actually win this game, it might be, both teams just batting out the Idris. It's just too strong in this one. And there you go. GG push, victory, and we are going for a 3rd game, ladies and gents.
We are. Uni with 7-2, but Idris was really the hero that did all the damage, and Idris was the main reason why Infamous won that. Obviously, I think Brenchong will be extremely annoyed with the fact that they Infamous will be very annoyed with the fact that they did that. So Brenchong will be very annoyed that they lost that basically on 1 team fight, and that was it. Like they lost 1 team fight when they were trying to take Kraken, and then Infamous just stole the Kraken, took 2 turrets, waited for the Kraken, took another one, and then took straight for the Vayne. I think Brenchong could have stopped that. All they have to do is, as soon as you see anyone trying to steal your Kraken, when you're 1v3, you have your captain stay on the Kraken to keep it healthy, and you have your 2 carries dive.